and in this video we're going to talk about how combos work in Street Fighter 6. For some players coming from other games like NetherRealm games or even Guilty Gear, you might be pretty surprised by how different the combo system works in Street Fighter 6. Like, you don't have your chains or gatlings as nearly as much as you do in other games. So you might be confused as to how combo links work, and also sometimes the juggles feel weird, and there's a lot of strange properties that you might not see in other games. So we're going to go over basically everything you need to know about combos that you just become a combo master. So there are 3 ways you can extend combos: cancels, links, and juggles. The cancel, the most obvious one, is when you mash your lights together. You can just mash on the button and they just link together and they form a combo. 3 hits on the left there, you can see you can just do it with basically any timing and it'll come out, because these can cancel into each other. And another type of cancel is buttons can cancel into special moves generally. Like Ryu's crouching medium kick here can cancel into this special move. A move that he can't cancel into a special move would be his heavy kick, because as you can see, I'm mashing on doing the spinning kick afterwards, but it just doesn't cancel. But this doesn't mean he can't combo off of it, which is where we're going into links. So off of his standing heavy kick, he can't cancel into things, but he can link into things. And links are based off the recovery frames down the bottom of the screen here. I think you can actually even see my cursor. So as you can see, when I do my heavy kick, it is +9. So that means I have the ability of connecting into any of my buttons or anything that is 9 frames or less. And as you can see, my crouching medium kick here is 8 frames, so I can combo my standing heavy kick into my crouching medium kick, and it doesn't cancel into each other. I have to time this myself. I can't just go, or else if I mess up the timing, it might not connect properly. I have to do it like, no. No. Whereas with the light punches or cancels, I can just kind of mash on them and it'll work perfectly. Of course, you can mash on the crouching medium kick, but there's a chance that it may not come out correctly because you may just mistime it. So this is a link. You're not canceling the heavy kick into the crouching medium kick, but it's so plus and so advantageous that you can go into the medium kick before the opponent recovers, and then luckily my crouching medium kick is cancelable and I can cancel that into a special to finish my combo. So we've established that linking is connecting moves together based on how plus they are. So Luke, as an example, his crouching medium punch +5 on block, and his standing light kick has 5 frames of startup. So these can link together as long as you time it correctly. But to make it a bit more complicated, there are quite a few factors that can change how plus your move actually is. So this move, by default, +5. But if I just, per se, do a drive rush into it, drive rush by default adds 4 frames of advantage to any attack you do, whether it's on block or on hit. So where it's usually +5, +4, it makes it +9 frames. So I have 9 frames of advantage now. So usually I could only link it into my standing kick, but because I'm now +9, I can link into something slower like this crouching heavy punch, and that can lead to far better combos. A counter hit will also increase the number of plus frames you have. I have Ken set to mash after he blocks, so if I do this, as you can see, I get a counter hit and now it's +7. So a regular counter hit adds 2 frames of 2 extra plus frames, so +5 to +7. So I can do something like this. Link it in my simple target combo and get a nice easy combo just like that, because I got the counter hit and got the extra frames of stun. And if you get a punish counter, you'll yet again get a full 4 frames of extra plus frames after your attack. So just like after a drive rush, it becomes +9. It's also worth mentioning that some moves have a different property on hit when you hit them with a punish counter. Like Luke's heavy kick launches the opponent into the air when he gets a punish counter, so you go for a juggle instead of a regular combo. His backwards heavy kick puts the opponent into this tumble state where you can actually go for a drive rush and get a combo going that way. So there's a bunch of different effects, and make sure you check out what all of your buttons feel like when they get a counter hit and a punish counter hit. So the most common way people go for combos in this game, not just using meter-bone special moves, is by using drive rush to extend their combos. So after something like my crouching medium kick, I can cancel into my drive rush and then go into this crouching button, and then as you can see, It links into this crouching heavy punch, which it normally doesn't, and it lets me extend my combos. It costs you 3 bars of your drive gauge, but is a really good way to extend your combos off of anything that is cancelable. So in these combos, we're doing a cancel into a drive rush and a button, and then we're using the extra plus frames we get from the drive rush to link into a different button that links into a special move, and then however you want to end your combo. And that's how most combos are going to be constructed in this game. And just to narrate and be super clear about what I'm doing crouching medium kick, then tapping forward forward to cancel into a drive rush. Then after the drive rush, I'm pressing crouching medium punch, and then the crouching medium punch will have extra plus frames. And then after the crouching medium punch, I can go into my crouching heavy punch and then cancel that into my combo starting flash knuckle, which is down back light punch, charged. And then I can end the combo with my heavy knuckle. So I'm doing a button into a drive rush button, into a button that can go into a launching special, and then ending my combo with a special, or a super if I feel like it. So this is a link. You're not cancelling the heavy kick into the crouching medium kick, but it's so plus and so advantageous that you can go into the medium kick before the opponent recovers, and then luckily my crouching medium kick is cancelable, and I can cancel that into a special to finish my combo. And if I spend meter on this spinning kick, the opponent will be put into the air and is spinning around in the air. And this is where we go into juggles. So if the opponent is in the air, there's a chance they're going to be in a juggle state. So if they're spinning around, as you can see here, he's kind of just flying around on his back, just launched in the air. That means he's able to be juggled. So I can go into something like my DP. And as you can see, that combos. That's not a cancel, it's kind of a link, but on an opponent in the air. My Hashogeki also puts the opponent in the air, so I can also combo it into my DP easily. And if the opponent's in the air for long enough, see, I can also combo into things like Hadouken. And my Hadouken actually recovers fast enough and leaves the opponent in the air that I can then go into a DP. So I've got a 3 special move juggle here, but the opponent is just stuck in the air and getting hit by all these special moves. Until my DP, which is just hasn't so much recovery that I can't combo off of it anymore. But it does a lot of damage, so it's good for ending your combos. However, of these 3, the cancels, the links, and the juggles are the most mysterious and kind of technical, because there are some secret hidden values that may make it seem a lot more inconsistent than you may think. Because there are a few different types of juggle states, depending on what puts the opponent in the air. So now Ken is jumping in the corner, and as you can see, if I hit him with a button, he'll be in the air, right? Because he's in a combo and he's airborne. So if judging by any other game's logic, I should be able to just combo and like juggle into a special move or something and continue my combo that way. But unfortunately, that's actually not the case, because not everything that puts the opponent airborne puts them into a juggleable airborne state. So if you hit the opponent out of the air with a button, there's a good chance that, as you can see, they're not spinning around and on their back and flying around and stuff. They're actually just doing a backflip and jumping back onto their feet. He recovers as soon as he lands and doesn't get knocked down. So this means I actually can't combo off of this. See, I can go into my DP, and it just doesn't work if I hit the opponent out of the air. Same happens if I try to use my uppercut, which is meant to be really good for anti-airing people, but I can't combo it into other things. Whether it's my fireball, my DP, my Hashogeki, even other buttons will not catch the opponent out of the air. It just doesn't work, because the opponent is not in a juggleable airborne state. And unfortunately, this is something that you're just gonna have to learn. You just have to know when the opponent is in a juggleable state. So generally, if you hit the opponent out of the air with a normal button, you can see they're not in a juggleable state. He just bounces back and lands straight back on his feet. And even a bunch of my jump-in attacks, if I hit him in the air, he's not in a juggleable state. He just flips back and lands on his feet. But as you can see there, my jumping medium punch, and this applies to basically every character, a jumping medium punch, for some reason, does put him in a juggleable state. Look, he lands on the ground and doesn't instantly recover, which means that if, depending on when I get it, I can actually combo into my special moves, just like I was able to before. Pretty weird, huh? That means I can also go into special moves in the air, or on the ground. So, totally different. Just because I pressed a different button, it put him in a completely different state where he could now be juggled. Which, unfortunately, is confusing, but you just have to learn, so you have to test these kind of things out in training mode. So, for some general rules of things that will put your opponent in a juggable state are as such. You're jumping medium punches, Practically any special move that puts the opponent into the air will put them in a juggleable state, but it just depends on whether you recover early enough as to whether you can combo off of it. So Hashogeki puts the opponent into the air, and I recover fast enough to go for a DP. But my DP doesn't recover fast enough to go for another DP, even though it does leave them in a juggleable state. Same goes for my Fireball. My Fireball is a special move, and if it hits the opponent in the air, they'll be in a juggleable state. And I recover in time to get a special move afterwards. So it's a combo starting juggleable state. So now that we know that not necessarily everything will put the opponent into a juggleable state, there's also another rule, and that's that not everything will hit the opponent even if they are in a juggleable state. So as you can see, Ken is put into a juggleable state after my heavy Hashogeki here. And we know that because we can go into our DP and we can hit him, we've talked about this. But even though he's in a juggleable state, none of my normals seem to be hitting him. My fist is just flying straight through him. No matter what button I press, it's just not doing anything. I can't extend my combos in the ways that I would in any other game. And this is unfortunately due to the fact that not everything is able to hit a juggleable opponent. And that includes most of your normal attacks. All of my medium punches, crouching heavy punches and stuff just won't hit the opponent. Luckily, practically every special move in the game has some capacity to hit juggleable opponents, and particularly DPs will basically always hit. But as you can see, all of my special moves here will connect to him easily, but my buttons will not. But that's not necessarily always the case. For example, some characters can hit a juggleable opponent with their sweep, if I time this correctly. I was able to hit Ken out of the air with my crouching heavy kick, which is a normal button, but it just happens to have the property to be able to hit a juggleable opponent. And again, unfortunately, this is just stuff you have to learn for each character. It's very inconsistent. There is good news to this because there is a mechanic in this game that actually helps you overcome this. So if you're like, ah, damn, I wish one of my buttons would hit there, well, you can actually drive rush and your button will connect. Using a drive rush in your combo means that the button after your drive rush will basically have the properties of a special move and will be able to hit an opponent even though it is a button and normally would not have hit the opponent in the exact same situation had you have not used the drive rush. As you can see there, it kind of acted like a Hadouken or something. It just juggled like a regular special move, but it was a button. So that is another really useful aspect of drive rush, is you can extend your combos and use your buttons to actually hit a juggled opponent. And what's that? You're already confused? Well, you'll be happy to hear that there's actually another rule beyond this as well. So not only does not everything have the ability to hit a juggled opponent, also every attack in the game has this secret little value on it, and there's this secret meter as you're doing a combo that gets bigger and bigger, and basically means that as the longer your combo is, the less things will be able to hit your opponent. So that's right, it actually changes. So this meter depends on how long your combo is. So we're going to use Juri as an example here because she's a character I know more about and I know a lot more about her combos. As a general rule, DPs are going to be your attack that has the highest potential of juggling the opponent, no matter how long your combo is. So normally Juri can combo off of her OD dive kick into her heavy DP super easily. But after she does it in a long combo using Feng Shui Engine, the game just says, no ma'am, that combo is too long. And it just will not connect, because the combo juggling meter has basically been built up so much that nothing else will combo, but supers actually have an even higher level of combo juggle ability than DPs do, which is why, in this same example, I can use a level 1 super. So the opponent was still technically in a juggleable state, but my combo was just so long that none of my special moves had the ability to juggle at that point. Which is, yes, I know, it's confusing, but generally DPs will be able to end a combo at basically any point. It's very rare that a DP will not be able to hit your opponent in a juggle, and supers, as far as I'm aware, will always hit your opponent if they're in a juggleable state. And this is just little, I promise, there is one more juggle state called a special juggle state, where, as far as I'm aware, it's only after a wall splat from a drive impact. As you can see, the opponent gets stuck on the wall, and they are technically airborne, you can see, but I'm able to hit him with my regular buttons. Even the ones that would not normally be able to hit an opponent, I can hit them. So this is why it's a special juggle state, because anything can hit him, even my special moves that normally cannot. I mean, even my normals that normally cannot. So it's almost like you've automatically applied a drive rush to them. Okay, so I know that was pretty long-winded, especially the explanation about juggles, but it's not my fault they're confusing. So I think we'll just go through a few examples with a few different characters, just so we can really cement and make sure we properly understand the ideas of these 3 different ways of extending combos. So let's start with Luke. He actually has a lot of things called target combos, which means he can do a lot of cancels. So to cancels we talked about is stuff like this. You can cancel buttons into other buttons, or some buttons you can cancel into special moves, or ultimates. But there are also some characters that have these things called target combos, where you can cancel buttons into each other to make this special string, and Luke has a bunch of these. So I can press light punch, medium punch, heavy punch, and these are cancels. The buttons are canceling into each other and all connecting. He also has medium punch, medium punch, medium punch, and I can just cancel these buttons all into each other, and they just link super easily. Cancels are super easy to time. You can just press them, kind of mash them or don't mash them, they'll come out somehow. He's also got another target combo, crouching medium kick, crouching heavy punch. So he's got a lot of cancels into each other, as well as just the classic crouching punches. However, if we're talking about canceling just special moves, these target combos, which are buttons that cancel into each other, don't all act the same at the end. So this medium punch combo, I cannot cancel into anything at the very end of it, but I can cancel the first hit into supers and the second hit into supers. I can't cancel them into special moves or anything else, but they've got this special property where they can be cancelled into supers. Some attacks have this, where they can't be cancelled into anything except supers, and this is an example of that. Whereas his light punch, medium punch, heavy punch target combo can just be cancelled into anything. I can cancel it into a drive rush, I can cancel it into a special move. It's fully cancelable. And then as for links that Luke has, he has his crouching medium punch into standing light kick. This isn't a target combo, it doesn't link, and I have to time it perfectly myself. As you can see, if I'm not thinking about it and kind of doing it wrong, okay, well now I'm getting it perfectly, but if you don't time it correctly, it's just not gonna work, which isn't really how target combos work. They'll just come out super easily. But this, it only works because, see, my crouching medium punch is +5, and my standing light kick is 5 frame startup, so it's able to link after this if I time it correctly, and luckily my standing light kick is cancelable into anything, so I can cancel into a special move and get combos that way. And then Luke's pretty interesting when it comes to juggles because of all these flash knuckles. So as you can see, Luke is able to connect all these flash knuckles together relatively easily, as long as you know the timing. But another general rule when it comes to juggling is that the same juggling special move can't be used twice. But as you can see, I can put the opponent into the air and do this juggle into my fully charged light punch flash knuckle. But if I do the same thing off of my light flash knuckle as a combo starter, it just will not link. And that's because I've already used the special move in the combo, so it'll really quickly deplete and not be able to extend the combo anymore. And showing how normals don't connect in juggled opponent, as you can see here, this should easily hit the opponent, but it doesn't work, and I have to drive rush, and then the button just magically hits the opponent, because the drive rush adds the properties of juggleability that special moves have to regular buttons. So after this, I could just easily go into that and then go into whatever combos afterwards. And as for juggle depletions, you can see that after I do this and then go into this, that works. I can do the charged version into the uncharged version. But if I do the charged version into the OD version, suddenly I can't go into the uncharged version at all. And that's because the OD version is causing the juggle degradation, where you need something with higher juggle potential to go afterwards. So I can do the same thing and go for a DP, because DPs are really good at juggling no matter what. But as you can see, the uncharged version isn't as good, so it doesn't work. Also, the level of juggle depletion that this causes is so much so that you can't actually get your drive rush buttons afterwards. They just don't work anymore. They don't have the potential of juggling after these two things in a row, because the game just thinks that that's too much. You can't be doing all of that. and no matter what button I press, it just won't connect. But my DP will connect, and you know what else will connect? A trusty super. See, even my projectile doesn't combo here. Usually this is super easy to connect. Using your projectile to extend the combo. If I just do the EX version, you can see, it works super easily. See, nice combo, and it doesn't work. Jamie is also a character that gets access to target combos with his level 1 drink. He now has this target combo where his light punch, light kick, medium punch. As you can see, these cancel super easily to each other, and they can also be cancelled into special moves afterwards, so that's super useful. Unfortunately, he's not a character who's privileged to be able to link his standing medium punch into his crouching medium punch. He just can't do it. He can link it into maybe a light punch or something, but that's not as good. Merely because, you see, it's +5, and his crouching medium punch is 6 frame startups, so he just can't link it together, it's physically impossible. That is, until you get a counter hit, because when you get a counter hit, your moves become slightly more plus on hit, so now this links, and I'm able to get this link. It's not a target combo, because they're not cancelling into each other at any capacity, it's only because it fits with the amount of advantage frames, or plus frames you get afterwards. I'm +7, this is 6 frames, so I'm able to link this, and then, luckily, I can cancel that into another special move and get a nice, lovely combo. And as for Juggles, Jamie's got this down kick normal where it launches the opponent in the air and you can actually jump cancel it into, say, his jump medium punch and get a simple little cool combo extension that way. And it puts the opponent in the air long enough that he can just recover on the ground, and as you can see, he can't really go for combos this way. Using his normals, they just don't connect. But specials, because they're able to juggle more easily, especially his DP, will just connect super easily. Even his wreckers are able to connect on the airborne opponent, just not normals as we talked about, because they just don't have the combo ability. However, lucky for Jamie, his sweep is also able to hit airborne opponents, so he can actually go for his sweep after this. And also lucky for Jamie, his sweep is really handy because it builds him an extra drink. So he can actually use his sweep in combos, and it's actually useful. And not only is he privileged to have a good sweep that's useful in combos, he's also privileged to have buttons that can actually connect against airborne opponents. As we mentioned, usually buttons just do not connect against people when they're in the air, because they just don't have the juggle potential. Well, Jamie actually has some buttons that can. Not only his sweep, but also his heavy punch. Just hits people in the air. Plain as day, as long as they're in a juggle, it can just hit them. So he can get some extra, like slightly increased juggles because of his ability to just do heavy punch, and it just connects. It's just got the properties, and this is what I'm saying. This is just stuff you have to learn, and it's not consistent from character to character. So I guess it's good it adds variability, but unfortunately for you, that does mean you'll just have to learn and figure it out what fits where. She also has a relatively cool juggle tool, and that's her spray can that explodes, because it is another example of a special juggle state. Like we mentioned on the wall, when you do a wall splat with your drive impact, they're in a special juggle state where they're technically in the air, but your buttons can still hit them. Whereas usually, if something put the opponent in the air, like this, your buttons just can't hit them because they're in the air, and buttons don't do that. But her spray can puts them in a special juggle state where her buttons will actually connect. Chun-Li is actually pretty special in that she's got a lot of unique cancels. So moves like this heavy punch, which aren't cancelable into anything, even supers, are able to be cancelled into this special stance she has, where from the stance she can go into extra buttons. But she's an example of a character who has these special cancels that are unique to her, and even though it's cancelable into nothing else, it can be cancelled into this one special thing. She's also really good at juggles because she's got a lot of aerial attacks that will actually hit an airborne opponent. So she can do these long combos and even land on the ground and go for a level 1, which will connect because it's a level 1 and it's a super, even though your DPs wouldn't connect, just because the combo juggling has so much degradation that only a super will connect there. So I think we've finally come to the end of this explaining combo guide. So by now you should understand the difference between your cancels, cancelling your lights, linking your mediums together, and juggling your opponent, usually into DPs or something like that. There's just lots to learn and lots to pay attention to, but now luckily that you understand all of these concepts, you won't be left accidentally like an idiot being like, oh, okay, cool, now that I've done this and did this launcher, I can just hit them with the button. Oh, why didn't that work? Because that would work in any other game, like Guilty Gear or Mortal Kombat. But in Street Fighter, no. You have to have the special juggle properties, you have to have the links, and target combos are pretty rare. So you have to make sure you're paying attention to how much plus frames each button has so you know what links into what, and what puts the opponent actually into a juggle state and what doesn't, and know how long your combo is, and know what will connect in a juggle. It can be confusing, but I believe in you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this guide helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.